Hey everyone, Meteorologist Emery here in the Fox 19 First Alert Streaming Center for our Saturday edition of our 19 at 10:15 weekend morning weather show, available wherever you stream, including on YouTube as well as on Facebook, both the Fox 19 Facebook page as well as my Facebook page at Emery WX, where have any questions or comments, please feel free to chime in and we'll be having ourselves a nice conversation on this nice Saturday morning. So, hi everyone again, Meteorologist Emery here, and I'll tell you what, we've got some nice conditions when you step outside. Now, it's not going to get much warmer, yes. However, we got more sunshine later in the day today. Just got to do with a cloud cover here this mid-morning. A live look behind me on our Newport Levee camera, looking towards downtown Cincinnati. Bit of a breeze out there from the north and west. As we are looking at, again, those temperatures not going to warm up all that much today, but we will warm up into the 50s. You can't really see the flag that's above the U.S. Bank Tower because it's aimed right at us. Again, those northwest winds. And right now, temperatures are in the mid-40s, 47, which is 1 degree warmer compared to the last hour, but again, not a huge increase by any means. Looking at our Turfway Park camera, this is looking over towards the Turfway racetrack there in Turfway in Kentucky, and temperatures again into the mid-40s. Do note the camera is shaking a bit. That is because of those gusty winds out of the north and west, which again is kind of the culprit for keeping those temperatures from getting too warm this afternoon. You do see some breaks in the clouds looking on our Fairmount Tower camera, South Fairmount, looking towards downtown Cincinnati, and our Mount Auburn camera, again, a lot of cloud cover there. Our Clovernut Country Club camera, also looking a little bit breezy out there along the golf course, and again, mostly cloudy skies. Would love to show you our Queensgate rooftop camera, but once again, it went down. Our engineers are going to be working hard to get that up and ready for us to show eventually, but in the meantime, these are all the cameras we can show you here this morning. Looking at our radar and satellite, I'll tell you what, this morning, much quieter compared to both Saturday and Sunday mornings here in Cincinnati, but we'll take it. It's nice to be a little bit of a relaxing forecast here. We do have, again, a lot of cloud cover out there here this morning, but as we zoom things out, you're going to see eventually some clearing conditions. Right now, towards the Indianapolis metro area, Terre Haute, up towards near Chicago metro, Champaign, Illinois, all of that's going to make its way through. But do note some cloud cover is trying to develop, so we'll probably likely see some of those fair weather cumulus clouds, those little puffy clouds here this afternoon under mostly sunny skies. But we are going to be looking at, nonetheless, though, temperatures remaining near or just below average. So right now it's 47 here in Cincinnati, 48 over towards Pittsburgh, 56 down in Nashville. The warmest spots here this morning are both the Lunken Airport and at Falmouth at 50 degrees. And the winds out there are noticeably a little breezy out there, sustained anywhere from 10 to nearly 20 miles per hour, and wind gusts are near 30, which is going to be kind of the name of the game today, keeping things breezy and keeping things mild. So today's afternoon high is going to be all the way up to about 50 degrees, or 55 degrees, excuse me, for this afternoon. So eventually becoming sunny, but even in the lunch hour, still looking at mostly cloudy skies. But by 2 o'clock, more breaks in the clouds. I know 2:30 is the kickoff to the FC Cincinnati match against Atlanta United FC. And throughout that game, looking really nice, looking really sunny. 5 o'clock, 54. 9 o'clock, 45, and mostly clear. And hey, it's the weekend. Maybe you're traveling across the region. Well, if you look off to the north and east towards Cleveland and Pittsburgh, a bit more rain there this afternoon. Scattered showers, 48 and 50 there respectively. 51 towards Columbus, 59 in Lexington. The mid-60s down into Nashville. A lot of sunshine there. 63 in St. Louis. So we're going to be kind of caught between these two air masses where we're not going to get quite that warm, but we are going to be near average for the bulk of the upcoming 7-day forecast here, which we'll show you that coming up. But we'll take a look at the wind gusts that we can expect here this afternoon, because again, we are looking at some breezy winds. This is looking at this afternoon. Anywhere gusts could get as high as 25 to greater than 30 miles per hour. Then tonight the winds die down, but then we go into Sunday during the day. Gusts could get as high as 20 to 25 miles per hour. And then Monday just looks downright gusty. Wind gusts over 30 miles per hour are possible for the start of the work week. And taking a look at our forecast model, which this does a pretty good job at highlighting those chances of rain returning heading into Sunday. So if you got plans to be outside today, keep them. It's going to be pretty nice out there. And I do think this model here is trying to detect showers to our east. I think that's just some cloud cover. It's a little bit thicker. Models sometimes have a hard time with some of the thicker clouds, especially in a setting like this where one area is looking mostly sunny, whereas the other might be a bit more cloudy. But we go into this afternoon. You're going to see skies become sunny. Then tonight, some upper-level clouds move in. Sunday morning, we're looking at a mix of cloud cover out there. And I do think that Sunday morning there is a potential for some patchy frost. So keep that in mind. Maybe you're heading off to Sunday service. Maybe you're going to do some errands Sunday morning, going to the dog park, whatever it is you're going to do Sunday morning. Keep in mind that there will be some patchy frost in some spots, especially, I believe, our rural areas to our east. So our folks up in Wilmington, Martinsville, New Vienna, Hillsborough, Mount Orab, Georgetown, Batavia, New Richmond, down towards Brooksville, Kentucky, Mount Olivet, Maysville, Mayslick, Vanceburg, Kinnickinnick, West Union, Seaman, Peebles, Cherry Fork, all through there, looking at the potential for some patchy frost. Now, areas to our west may also see that risk. However, if you're in Connorsville, Brookville, Batesville, Versailles, Dillsboro, Rising Sun, Cotton Township, all those areas, I think it's going to be a lot more limited because of those clouds. Mid to upper level clouds moving in for our Sunday morning. And those clouds will just continue to get thicker through the mid-morning hours as rain chances begin to be introduced into the tri-state area. Now, I do think this right here might be a few sprinkles around 8, 9 a.m., but I do think most of that's not going to really reach the surface. This has to combat some drier air. But we are looking at widespread rain that will move in heading into the midday hour. So looking here, 10, 11 a.m., look at all that dark green and yellow and orange, indicating moderate rainfall moving to the tri-state area. And again, this is Sunday at around 11 a.m. And one thing I also want to draw attention to is the temperatures. Do note, 11 a.m., temperatures in the mid to upper 40s, dare I say a couple of 50s showing up. But watch what happens with that rain-cooled air. Noon, 1 o'clock, still in the mid-40s, even some low 50s to our east. And then they drop a little bit. And again, it's because of that rain-cooled air. So if you're concerned or curious about whether or not we're going to have strong storms, we're not. It's just going to be your springtime showers. Moderate rain. So if you, I haven't heard any lawnmowers yet, and I don't suspect there to be any lawnmowers running. But if you're doing any kind of outdoor stuff in the yard, maybe trying to do some early gardening, although it's still a little too early in my opinion for that. But regardless, you know your yard better than anybody else. If you're doing anything outside, just keep in mind Sunday, a really soggy day from the midday hour all the way through Sunday evening. And do note a lot of this orange, yellow, red is not indicative of severe weather, but rather the moderate to heavy rain that's moving in. And then by Sunday night, the rain does begin to taper off, and then Monday things will start off on a much drier note. So when it comes to rainfall totals, let's take a look here at our forecast model. So we go into Sunday afternoon, Sunday night. Rainfall totals will be anywhere from about 1/3 of an inch of rain to 3/4 of an inch of rain. So generally around a 1/2 inch can be expected of rain, at least for the bulk of the tri-state area. Locally, higher amounts certainly possible. I showed this morning on Fox 19 Morning News, the weekend morning news. If you watched, I showed areas closer to 1 inch of rain. Can't be ruled out either. But I do think this model has a bit of a better grip on the rain. So anywhere from 1/3 or 1/3 of an inch of rain to 3/4 of an inch of rain can be expected for Sunday. And again, I'm not looking at a severe threat. I'm also not even looking at a flooding threat. The rainfall happens through the entire day. It's just enough to soak in the ground. Good for that vegetation. I'm sure a lot of you have already noticed the grass is very green in some locations in the tri-state area. And it's due to this warmer weather as well as the rain. And this kind of rain is going to really help with some of that vegetation. Take a pause real quick and look at our Facebook comments and questions before we move forward. All right. Linda says, good morning. Be careful. Stay safe. Thank you, Linda. I'll be here for a little bit, so and not to mention this afternoon looks nice. I'll be doing some indoor work. I've been, I really need to clean my apartment. I've been procrastinating on it. I need to dust because the other day this is something bad to admit, but I was in my bedroom and I was doing a little bit of rearranging. And as I was doing that, I looked up at my ceiling fan, and between the light and the fan switches, there was cobwebs. And I'm usually pretty good at cleaning, but I'll admit this fall and winter, things have been really chaotic and just all over the place with scheduling, so I never really had the chance to actually do a fall/winter clean. And so I really need to dust and clean today. I'm speaking it into existence. And also, I got some speakers for my record player, so I need to hook those up and listen to some good tunes while I am doing some spring cleaning. Jackie says, great seeing you. Hey, great seeing you as well on here, Jackie. Appreciate you joining us. Look at my Facebook page real quick, at Ethan Emery WX. Clarine, my grandmother, Meemaw as I call her, says good morning. Hey, good morning to you. Darla says good morning, Ethan. Hope you're having a great morning. Are we looking at any severe storms tomorrow or this week? Nope. Right now, like I mentioned, tomorrow there's just really no energy here in the tri-state. Maybe some rumbles of thunder. That's about it. Just your spring, your garden variety spring showers and rumbles of thunder moving in tomorrow. Now, I was going to show you, we do have some rain chances this week, but I'm not looking at severe storm threats at all this week because these are going to be showers that are not from powerful systems. They're just little waves of energy as they move through. But we'll show you that here right now. So, again, we're going to show you kind of what happens on Sunday. Got this wave passing through, bringing with it some good showers, a few rumbles of thunder. And now if you're curious, any kind of active weather that could be strong to severe is much further south, down here into the Tennessee Valley, into Mississippi, Alabama, perhaps even northwestern Georgia. Even far southern Kentucky could see the risk for some stronger storms. But that is all well off to the south. So we're not seeing that even getting close to the tri-state area. Now we go into Monday. Things will dry out for us. We got some sunshine, some gusty winds. Then we go into Tuesday. Tuesday, we are looking at the chance for a few showers, especially for the afternoon. Now again, this is just a little wave of energy. It's not going to do very much, just some light rain that moves through Tuesday afternoon into Tuesday evening. We go into Tuesday night, that rain begins to move out of here. Now Wednesday, if you look at the 7-day forecast, it's a dry icon. However, I can't rule out maybe a few sprinkles, a light passing shower. But it does look more dry than wet. In fact, so much so that I don't really want to put that rain icon because if you got plans on Wednesday, it's not worth canceling them. But there is that chance, especially for areas south and east of Cincinnati Metro. So that's something we'll be monitoring. And of course, if it needs to be changed, we'll add a rain icon. We might do that. In fact, meteorologist Aaron Ashley this evening might do that. But of course, as we get a little bit closer, we might make that adjustment. We go into Thursday. I'll tell you what, Thursday for Reds opening day looks gorgeous. Sunshine. Maybe a few high thin clouds in the afternoon. But haven't made the graphic for you. I'm in the process of doing that right now. Today's my kind of planning day of building graphics for myself to use through the whole week. In fact, I'm trying to make that a habit. And I've gotten pretty far along with a lot of things, but just the Reds graphic is the one thing I need to make. But looks really nice that day. If you're going to be in the parade, bundle up. Thursday's going to be one of those days where you need a coat in the morning and then you shed it in the afternoon. Kind of that typical spring day here in the Ohio Valley. So morning temperatures Thursday will be in the 30s, but during the game, during the afternoon, we'll be in the 60s, low 60s, mind you. But nonetheless, a lot of sunshine in store for our Thursday. Then we go into Thursday night into Friday. And I'll tell you what, we are lucky because it's going to begin to rain Friday morning. So Friday, March 28th, we got some showers moving in, and those shower chances continue on Saturday, Sunday, the very end of March, keeping things wet into the tri-state going into April. So, yeah, we're talking about unsettled weather moving in for the beginning or the end of March, beginning of April. So without further ado, here is your 7-day forecast. Temperatures are going to cool down on Sunday, as I mentioned, with those showers that move in. Highs only in the low 50s late in the day. Much of the day going to be stuck in the 40s. Monday, 57, mostly sunny, a bit breezy out there, up to 57. Tuesday, afternoon showers, take a bit of a hit with the temperatures down to 54. And then Wednesday, partly cloudy, up to 53. Wednesday, a bit of a cooler day, but dry. Again, there's that chance for a sprinkle light shower. I can't quite rule out, but it does look more dry than anything else. And then for Thursday, Reds opening day, sunny and a high of 61 degrees after that cool morning low of 33. And then for Friday, a slight chance of showers and a high of 69. So that's your 7-day forecast. We'll go beyond the 7-day forecast coming up, but first let's take a look at those Facebook comments and questions. Make sure I don't want to miss anything before I continue. All right, Jessica says, good morning from the west side, Cincinnati. Good morning to you. I'm sure it's pretty busy there this afternoon with all the folks coming in for the FC Cincinnati match. Maybe folks who are going to be coming into the banks for the Cyclones game here tonight at 7:30. It's the Pucks and Pups, or I think folks can bring their dogs in to the Cyclones game here tonight. So that's going to be a lot of fun seeing videos from that, reaction from that. Hopefully they win, too. Hopefully both teams win. I mean, heck, I'm wearing FC Cincinnati colors today. I think their last home game they lost, unfortunately. Or maybe it was the last match they had. They lost. I can't remember. But anyway, we're hoping for a W. Deborah says, good morning from Richmond, Kentucky. Hey, thanks for watching us all the way from down in Richmond. Hopefully you're stopping by that Buc-ee's. I've been to Buc-ee's in a while. Tell you what, they have really good, what do they call those? The Buck Nuggets, those little they're like peanut, they taste kind of like peanut butter. Those are really good. But yeah, anytime I think of Richmond, Kentucky, I always think of stopping by through there because that's the route I would take to visit my mom. She lives out in South Carolina. And lucky for her, she's in much warmer conditions than us. Speaking of which, Nikki asking, are we done with winter? I think so. There are no indicators of a big cool down. There's no indicators of snow. At this point, it looks like it's just going to be spring showers. Again, on Sunday, Tuesday, maybe Wednesday a sprinkle, Friday a slight chance of showers. And in fact, if you look at our First Alert forecast on the app, if you click on the days and see kind of the descriptions, I write those. If you look at our website, the discussion on there, I'm now including wording for frost and freezing because seeing the green grass, seeing plants starting to grow, it's that time of year where frost and freezing conditions, of course, can be something we need to monitor for the risk of damaging plants. And we do have a couple of mornings where that is a possibility. Of course, tomorrow morning, there's that potential for some frost. We also have that potential Wednesday morning and then Thursday morning. And then going beyond the 7-day forecast, you'll see things continue to look warm going into that first week of April, or at least the first days of April, if you will. And we'll take a look at the extended outlook, too, with temperatures and precipitation coming up. And you're going to see what I mean. Things just look like pretty warm. So, Nikki, I think we are done with winter. I really don't see the potential for big snowstorms or nothing like that for us. I'm happy about that. Hopefully you are too. Susan says, hello, I see we may have a warming trend. And you are certainly right. Darla says, thank you. Appreciate everything you do, keeping us informed. Thank you. And I hope you have a great day too, Darla. David says, good morning from Gallipolis and Rio Grande. Or Rio Grande, pardon me. Down there, home of Bob Evans. I always travel that way too when I go visit my sister in West Virginia. Family's a little spread out here around the region, but it's always nice to travel through these spots. Okay, that is the 7-day forecast. Now let's go beyond the 7-day. And again, you're going to see a warming trend here. It does get warm on March 29th, looking at highs in the low 70s with rain chances. Sunday, March 30th, 67 rain chances. And then the 31st and then April 1st, we do get a little bit drier briefly, but then more rain chances show up on April 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And with that, another warming trend. So we get a cool down, if you will, March 31st, only down to 59 degrees. And do note the coolest morning in this 14-day forecast period, at least the next 8 to 14 days, is 37. So, again, the odds of seeing any kind of, opportunity for the cool conditions enough to warrant any kind of snow is just not really there. Sorry, my mind is thinking about the next thing I'm about ready to show you. I just got to get it all set up here. So, what we're going to do real quick, you're going to see a weird graphic behind me, but don't worry. It won't be there very long. Once it loads. Here we go. There we are. So the next 3 to 4 weeks. So what I just showed you was the next 2 weeks. 7-day, 14-day. Here's the next 3 to 4 weeks. This takes it all the way out to the middle of April. And do note, above average temperatures are expected here into the Ohio Valley region, down into the central and southern plains, also to the southwest, looking at the potential there of, oops, let's do that again. There we go. Looking at that potential for warmer than average conditions. When it comes to precipitation, rain, shall I say, we're near normal. So we're not looking at any kind of massive big systems. Now, that being said, we could look at, it's always March and April. There's always going to be a couple of systems that move through and give us the threat of strong storms. We don't have that, mind you, in the 7-day forecast right now. But of course, with it being the end of March and April, there's always going to be that chance going into any kind of period where we do look at that activity moving in. And given the fact we got warm air and these low pressure systems moving into the Great Lakes regions, we do stand that risk going into the middle of April. But this far out, can't pinpoint timelines, can't pinpoint anything more than just pattern recognition. And right now that pattern does suggest that, yeah, we could see a couple of times where we could be looking at storms. But this far out, just, it's something we shouldn't be overly excited about right now. Looking at the next month, so I believe this is the month of April, the April outlook. temperatures are near normal. And then when it comes to precipitation, I believe we're going to be above average. Yep, still there. Although I think this will update next week, or maybe the following week. So this is going to change too. And then looking at the next 3 months, this is going to be April, May, June, above average temperatures, and near average to just above average precipitation. So we're not talking about any kind of big drought conditions. We're not talking about any kind of big, like heavy rain or snow scenarios here. This looks like the overall pattern setup is warmer than average. And yeah, there are going to be some rain chances, some thunderstorm chances, as every spring usually has here in the region. But it does not look outstanding, if that makes any sense. Okay, take a look at that 7-day forecast again, and then we'll sign off here and take a final look at any kind of questions or comments before we move on. So here is, again, that 7-day forecast. Got a high of 55 today. Those clouds are going to continue to decrease this afternoon. Tomorrow morning, got a low of 32. Can't rule out some patchy frost out there. Mainly for our eastern counties. Our western counties, I think the cloud cover and the winds might be a little bit too much for the frost to develop. Regardless, though, patchy frost will be a possibility. And Sunday temperatures are going to struggle, staying in the 40s for the bulk of the day thanks to that rain that's widespread mid-morning through the afternoon. But we eventually creep up into the low 50s late Sunday evening. It's going to stay a little breezy too. Monday, definitely breezy. In fact, could be argued to be windy of a day because wind gusts will likely be over 30 miles per hour. Morning lows, not bad, 41. Afternoon, 57. Tuesday, 38 for the morning, 54 in the afternoon. Now, Wednesday, we could see the potential maybe for some patchy frost, but that far out, right now, it looks like there's too much cloud cover for frost development, in addition to some wet grounds. So Wednesday, I'm not really concerned about frost in the morning as much. But 53 for the afternoon high. Opening day Thursday, that's a day where we could be looking at some patchy frost in the morning. Low of 33, high of 61 degrees with sunny skies. And then Friday, slight chance of showers, warming up into the upper 60s. That's the start of an unsettled pattern, which will bring in some spring showers going into next weekend with maybe a few thunderstorms. But that far out, there's no red flags or indicators of severe weather at this time. But nonetheless, though, it does look warm with those showers next weekend. All right, take a look at those final comments and questions before we hop off here. All right. I got a comment here about there are currently no statements or comments right now about any kind of new positions or any new employees for Fox 19 right now. I have to check back for that. Right now, though, no. And just for some inside knowledge from this one comment here, I did not apply to be the chief. I'm not qualified compared to everybody else around here. So that is, I did not do that. Ellis asks, with farmers markets starting soon, will there be a segment on what's in season? That's a great idea, Ellis. I love that idea. Earlier this morning, I did show the Findlay Market, farmers market forecast for the weekend, and that's something I'll pitch to our producers. Maybe to have somebody in studio. I could talk about plants all day long, so I would love to do that. Look at my Facebook comments real quick on my Facebook page. No new comments. All right. I do believe we have answered all the questions we have here this morning. We'll go ahead and hop off here, but appreciate those of you who joined us for this Saturday edition of our 19 at 10:15 weather show. This afternoon, meteorologist Aaron Ashley's got you covered on 19 at 6, and of course, Tonight, I don't know when they start. It could be late, could be 10 o'clock, could be 11:30. Not exactly sure. But you can always check out our programming guide on our website, fox19.com. And of course, we've got that First Alert forecast covered for you on fox19.com, the Fox 19 News and First Alert weather app, as well as on our 24/7 weather streaming channel. So that's going to do it for us here. I will do an updated video, which will be posted on all those platforms. And of course, on the First Alert weather app especially. And of course, as I mentioned, Aaron might be adjusting some of the things on that First Alert forecast. Keep an eye on Wednesday to maybe possibly add a chance for some showers. No severe weather threats this week. No First Alert weather days for the next several days. Looking forward to more quiet weather to get some more projects done behind the scenes. So that'll be good. It'll be fun. That'll do it for us here on this Saturday edition of 19 at 10:15 Weekend Morning Weather Show. Thank you so much for joining us. Have yourself a splendid Saturday. And if you got to be outside, do it today, because tomorrow, looking at more wet conditions into the tri-state area.